Hey everybody, welcome back to Paul's Little Forge. We're not going to make a knife this week. We're actually going to learn something about wooden handles for knives. One of my favorite things to do making knives is when I get to the point of adding the handle and what I choose for it. I actually put a lot of thought into it of what that knife is going to be used for, what environment it's going to be in. A lot of things go into choosing what the handle is going to be. Sometimes I'll tell you though, I just choose it because it looks good. But I don't use a lot of cheap woods on my handles. Most of mine are very high in density or stabilized, or I'm using something that's not wood, such as micarta. So today I'm going to just tell you about some of the woods I use for handles. And I'm going to take a minute and show you guys which of the woods I use will sink in water and which ones will float in water by using this ice bucket right back. Will, get out of the damn bucket. So these are some of the woods that I use quite regularly. You got walnut here, oak. Those are both grown in North America, as well as this desert ironwood that grows in Mexico and the southwestern United States. This here is Gaboon ebony, some olive wood, pink ivory, bacote, padauk, lignum vitae, purple heart, and cocobolo. When it comes to knife making, we talk a lot about stabilized or non-stabilized handles. Quite simply, guys, if it will float in water, you probably should have it stabilized. If you're going to use it on a knife handle, it's going to make it last a much longer. With that being said, if you don't stabilize it, it doesn't mean that that handle is going to fall apart in a couple of years. You're probably going to get quite many years out of it. But if you stabilize it, you're probably making that last a lot longer and giving it a more luster look. Now, woods that sink in water are dense enough that they're probably not going to stabilize anyway. You may get a little bit in there if you're trying, but the truth of the matter is they don't need to be stabilized if they sink in water because they're so dense. They're not going to rot out and go bad anytime soon, and they're so dense that they usually polish up very well without any kind of finish on them. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about what is Janka hardness. That is a measure of wood's resistance to denting and wear, and they do this by applying pressure with a steel ball on a little pressure machine. So what I have learned is woods that are under 1,000 Janka hardness tend to float. Woods over 1,000 Janka hardness does not mean they will sink. It means they have the potential to sink, but they don't actually all sink. It also depends on the actual density of that wood, not just the hardness. So under 1,000, I'm not aware of any that sink. Over 1,000, not all do. And we're going to talk more about that as we move forward. First up, we're going to talk about white oak. This can be very beautiful wood. It's a hardwood, yes, but it's on the lower end scale of hardwoods. And I know that may come as a surprise to many of you. I have people often come up to my booth at shows and ask, do I have a knife with an oak handle? Because they want something American made. But oak is not that hard on the hardness scale. It's, like I said, 1350, considered a hardwood, but at the low end of that scale. What I like about oak, it's easy to work. It finishes well. You can get a good look on the finish. It's used for all kinds of products. But what I don't like about it is it will split easily on you when you're trying to put a pin in and you're a little bit tight. It also, when you drill through it and come out the other side, sometimes it splinters on you, and you got to clean that up. So it's always good to tape that back side and see how well that holds up. Let's see. Will it float in water? And it floats. Next up, we have some walnut. Again, this is grown in the Americas, North America. It can be very beautiful. Again, walnut is considered somewhat of a hardwood. The Janka hardness on it is 1,010. That's not as hard as the oak was, but it's easy to work. It has a good finish. One thing I don't like about it is it can get some little hairline cracks in it from drying, and that's not always real beautiful. So, what do you guys think? Is it going to sink or is it going to float? Let's put it in and see. And it is floating. Okay, now we have a wood that is somewhat endangered in the world, but it's still out there for sale, and every once in a while I will buy a couple pieces of it. It's not endangered to the point that they won't sell it anymore, but they are trying to get some preservation in it. Gaboon ebony is just absolutely stunningly beautiful when you sand it down and polish it really smooth. It has a Janka hardness of 3,080. So earlier we talked about oak having 1,350. Gaboon ebony, 3,080, much harder, very dense wood. Polish is really good, like I said. It can be difficult to work though. It's hard on tools. It'll tear out on you. It'll chip when you're routing it. I've had it do all kinds of stuff. And it's expensive, but the end product is well worth it. So, sink or float, right to the bottom. Here is a favorite of my customers. I will tell you, when I put pink ivory on a knife handle, it's an easy sell, it sure seems like. This is very, very beautiful wood. Has a Janka hardness of 3230. This wood was so prized, it was sacred to the Zulu warriors. In the Zulu tribes, this wood was prized by them. It was considered something of royalty to have it. It was considered actually to them to be as precious as a diamond was. It finishes really good, has a great polish on it. It's very expensive, guys. This wood is expensive, so you're gonna pay for getting it. And it will dull cutting tools because it's just so hard and dense. Anyway, let's see if it will sink or float in the old ice bucket. And it sank. Notice though, it did not go down near as fast as the Gaboon ebony, but it still went down to the bottom. Next up, Lignum vitae, which I actually love working with, and most people hate it. You got to learn it. You know, you got to spend some time on it. But Lignum vitae is considered the hardest, most densest wood in the world. I think there are a couple that may come out a little bit higher than that, but they don't grow in abundance enough where you could even get a board out of those type of plants. So Lignum vitae is considered by many to be the hardest. 4,390 Janka pounds. That's 1,000 more than the Gaboon ebony. So that's really dense stuff here. They will use this, just so you know, for bearings that are in water applications. That's right, wood in the place of bearings, because it will last and wear that long. When I put this on a handle, I know that in many, 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 many years from now, if that knife 1,000 years down the road rusted out and fell apart, at least there'd still be a good handle laying there on the ground. So that's what I like about it. Now, it is hard to work with, guys. It tears up your sandpaper, it dulls your tools, it skips on the router. But when doing all that, it has a very beautiful smell, and actually make perfume out of this as well. It's expensive, it's somewhat endangered, and a lot of people don't like it because after you sand and get it all finished, sunlight exposure is going to kind of give it a little green or olive green look. Doesn't bother me, but it does bother some customers, and it does bother some knife makers. But I know when this is on there, it's going to be good stuff. Let's see if it sinks or floats. I'll be shocked if it floats. Straight to the bottom. My next one here is Cocobolo. I use this quite a bit, to tell you the truth. It just comes out so beautiful. It does have really unique look. Here it's just kind of a solid brown. If you look on the end, you can see some highs and lows of color there, brights and dark. And when you get this sanded down and finished, a lot of that comes out, and it just turns out absolutely beautiful. Cocobolo is just under 3,000 Janka hardness at 2,960. Polishes well. It is dense, so it dulls tools and it will tear out, but it has a very good look to it. It's not endangered or anything. It's not super expensive, so it's a good wood to use for knife handles. We'll put it in the water. And so look at there, Cocobolo, even though 3,000 Janka hardness, did not sink in the water. Now we have some Padauk here. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I looked it up. One thing that you will notice about it, it will turn your fingers red when you are working it. But it's a really good wood, and it's beautiful. People love this on handles. It's out of Africa. Janka hardness is 1,710 pounds. It's easy to work. It glues really good. A lot of those higher dense woods that, like the lignum vitae and the Gaboon ebony, they have so much oil in them, they don't glue well. So you need to use Gulso bolts or Corby bolts when you're putting them on handles, guys. Don't rely on epoxy. But back to the Padauk, easy to work, glues well. Can be a little bit of an issue when you're trying to get a glass looking, smooth looking finish on it, because the pores are big in it. So what I've found with this is to use CA glue, let it get in the pores, sand it again, let it get in the pores, sand it again, and do that about 5 times, and then put it on the polisher, and you usually get a pretty good look. Let's see how it does in the water. And it floated. Desert ironwood, the hardest wood grown in North America. Desert ironwood has a Janka hardness of 3,260. The pros, it is beautiful. It is so beautiful, and it is one of the favorites of most knife makers that I know. I haven't met a knife maker that does not like using this. So it's very popular among knife makers. It can be a little bit difficult to sand, and it fills up the pores really quick on the sandpaper, fills up the grit really quick, and it can dull tools when using it, but the finished product is well worth it. Let's put it in the bucket and see how she does. Right to the bottom. Purple Heart. It's beautiful, but it can be disappointing as well. But it's from Central and South America. The Janka hardness is 2,520 pounds. The thing with Purple Heart, though, is when you first cut the tree down, the wood's kind of brownish. And then after a little while, it turns this really cool looking purple. Unfortunately, after it's been exposed to the sun for a long time, it will almost turn brown with a little bit of purple hue to it. So it can disappoint you after some time, but it can be very beautiful if you can get it sealed. It will last for centuries because it's not real prone to rotting, so it's going to be around for a long time. One thing I can tell you about this, though, when you're routing it, it can be very ugly. If you're going to do this with knives, don't try to use a router or anything to curve the edges on this, because when this gets hot, some sap comes out of it and it can get really ugly looking. So try to just use sandpaper to get this down to where you want it. Let's see how she does in the water. And she floats. So this next wood, I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways, Bacote or Bacate. This wood is from Central and South America as well. It has a Janka hardness of 2,010 pounds. I love it. I use this a lot. It can have a very beautiful pattern, and it's also pretty easily, you're easily able to achieve book match scales out of them. So I like that about it. Works easily, glues up really good. It's very pretty. It's a little bit expensive though, and that is the con to it. So let's see if she floats or sinks. And she floats, but just under the water. Lastly, I have some olive wood here. Olive wood is just beautiful stuff. Janka hardness 2710. It's grown mostly in the Mediterranean. It's grown in other parts of the world, but that's where the hub of it is. Finishes and polishes well. Sometimes though, the grains can turn in odd ways and cause tear out when you're working it. If you got pretty good straight grains, you're going to be fine. If you've got a burl looking grain in there, it may give you a little bit of trouble. But I do like it. It will warp, and I had one knife that the wood shrunk a little bit on me over some time, so it wasn't quite dry enough. But nevertheless, it's a great wood, easy to maintain. So let's see how she does in the bucket. And she floated. That was kind of fun. Did notice that the pink ivory and the Cocobolo here are very close in hardness. One's 3230, the pink ivory, and the Cocobolo is 2960. But when I'm holding these guys, the pink ivory feels much heavier. And that's because it's denser than the Cocobolo. Although the hardness is the same, this is a more porous wood, and this is not. So if we put them in water, almost the same hardness, one sinks and one does not. If you like this video, leave me a message in the comments about it and let me know some other things you might want to see in the future. I had a lot of fun doing this. I love wood, I love handles, love knife making. I want to thank every one of my followers out there that watches my videos and subscribes to me on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys. You mean a lot. Check out my website, HornerKnivesUSA.com. And we're going to see you next time.